We're just getting some breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes. A different way in which our democratic norms are just being obliterated. Apparently, Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, it has been charged with bank fraud in New York. The Trump-appointed prosecutor there has been seeking an indictment there. This is according to ABC News. A Trump-appointed prosecutor presented evidence to a federal grand jury seeking an indictment on charges of mortgage fraud against Letitia James. It's not apparently altogether clear, even though our Chiron says she's been charged. It's not altogether clear that the grand jury has approved the indictment. I want to see if there's some more reports coming in that indicate that she has in fact been charged, but it looks as though we're on the verge of seeing that happen, which means that Donald Trump has seen to it that the Justice Department of the United States of America has basically brought an indictment. Okay, now we're seeing the Associated Press is now saying that Letitia James has been indicted on a fraud charge in New York. So the Chiron is fine. But Steve, your thoughts on this? It's breaking news. It's happening right now. We saw James Comey being arraigned in court in Alexandria, Virginia yesterday. Now we have Letitia James, the New York State Attorney General, being indicted. And this was another case where it's been in the news for several weeks that they've been wanting to do this. And it sounds as though that perhaps there was some pushback within the Justice Department among the career prosecutors and so on, the professionals. But it sounds as though Trump finally got his way in going after one of his perceived political enemies, somebody who had brought charges against him in the past.
This is a political act, and it's an un-American act, and it's an obvious act. He said he would do it, and then he did it. So there's zero mystery about it, though it's appropriate to think about what to call it. And what we should call it is Soviet justice, because what it approximates most closely philosophically is the phrase used by the head of the Soviet secret police, Beria, that said, "Show me the man and I'll find the crime."
Right.
And so this is arbitrary justice. You do your duty. You do something that I don't like.
Right.
I'll lock you up.
Yeah.
And so he has destroyed the integrity of the Department of Justice. And I think it's very important. And we're figuring out how to do this at the Save America movement. But
yeah,
we'll be advertising and talking about the concept of nullification and to say to the jurors, it's a political act, not guilty. Nullify the prosecutions. When you go into a grand jury room, you're about to be lied to by a corrupt federal prosecutor. No bill, the indictment. And you have an absolute right to do that under the First Amendment. And now I want to speak, though, to the corruption of Pam Bondi, who's a singular figure.
What did you think of that hearing that we saw the other day? I mean, that was wild. Yeah. Shameful.
Shameful. Terrible. The Democrats are terribly ineffective, right? In the show, it's all this sick theater. But when you peel it all back, her corruption is staggering. This is a person with zero integrity, who's trashed her oath, who is unfit to be attorney general because she was a registered foreign agent for Qatar, the host country for Hamas. And so what she was a grubby C-list Florida lobbyist. And Pam Bondi is covering up the release of information that she said she saw,
right,
concerning the biggest child sex trafficker of the 21st century. And she is directly involved in that cover up, including the movement of his accomplice, the convicted sex trafficker, child sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, from a maximum security penitentiary to a club fed where they breed puppies. So this corrupt, indecent, dishonest, disloyal American. When you think about this, think about the 12-year-old little girl, the 13-year-old little girl being taken by this posh British woman into this mansion, into this room with the massage table where they're raped by some of the most powerful men in the world. And she is covering that up.
Yeah, we saw Sheldon Whitehouse.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. We saw Sheldon Whitehouse ask Pam Bondi about whether there are these photographs. I mean, that's a potential bombshell right there.
Is lawless.
Yeah.
Indecent, dishonest, and corrupt. And she should be disbarred. That's where Pam Bondi's destiny is. What a travesty and a disgrace this woman is. No words.
Yeah.
No words.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Sheldon Whitehouse ask whether there are pictures of Trump with underage, half-naked girls, and she wouldn't answer the question. I mean, she just traded insults with these senators and showed contempt for a co-equal branch of government. It was
the total absolute contempt. And
yeah.
I'll be honest, right? I hope I'm not like crossing like a middle-aged life barrier, right? You know, like when I remember when, if these guys are right, the nostalgia line, right, becoming your dad. But like I have never in the era since he died wish that John McCain was back in the Senate. I can't imagine her doing that bullshit to John McCain,
agreed,
to Daniel Inouye, to Ted Kennedy, and that it's depressing to me on the Democratic side that nobody has the wherewithal to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Are you on drugs?
Right.
You're appearing before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee. Do you need to step outside and compose yourself?
Yeah. But I mean, the problem is that the Republicans have the gavel. I mean, I thought Adam Schiff handled himself pretty well during that hearing, but I will say I agree with you that this was not an A-list performance here. But putting that to the side, just the willingness of Republicans to play ball with this and not really attempt to hold Pam Bondi's feet to the fire over a pedophile sex trafficking ring and whether we're going to get to the bottom of that. I find that just unreal. And Tom Homan taking bags of cash. I mean, here they are indicting Jim Comey and now Letitia James on bullshit trumped up charges, and Pam Bondi and that gang of gangsters are totally fine with letting Tom Homan, who took a bag of $50,000 in cash, off the hook. I mean, that's very Soviet, to your point, very Russia style.
They're criminal scumbags, and I have no expectations whatsoever. The Democrats have to operate at a higher standard. And the standard is, at this point, when we start off the conversation with what we started off talking about, you have to say, honestly, what you all are doing, Democratic senators, as a team is not working. You, as the senators on the Judiciary Committee, don't come looking to praise from me. You suck. Right? It's an abomination. It was a failure. And what she did was deliver her her lines, her script. There's photographs of it, and it was chopped up and sent out there as propaganda, really as democracy snuff film porn, right? For the rage machine of the MAGA base.
Yeah.
And so if her lines are already written, what that would suggest to me, with the analogy being she's the batter and they're the pitcher, she has a pretty good idea of what the pitch is.
Yeah.
So maybe the thing to do is to have a lawyer who's one of the best trial lawyers in the country be committee counsel and ask questions.
Yeah,
or
that's not a bad idea.
have a team approach.
Yeah.
Or to spend some time, put in some preparation, act like you give a fuck. And
there's no sense of urgency.
You're going to try to expose this corrupt, indecent woman who is in the chain of command for the guys who fired the shot that hit the priest in the head.
Yeah. And Steve, let me just hit the pause button on this, because there's some new information coming in on this indictment of Letitia James that we should talk about. It's very important. This indictment on bank fraud makes Letitia James the second of Donald Trump's political foes to be charged in the Eastern District of Virginia. So this case is being charged in the Eastern District of Virginia, which is where James Comey was charged. Lindsay Halligan, who is this ridiculous insurance lawyer, I guess, that was working in the White House, and they were looking around to find somebody who could replace the U.S. attorney who was there in the Eastern District, who said, "I'm not going to bring these charges against James Comey." And they said, "Okay, Lindsay Halligan, you're going in there." Apparently, she's completely unqualified for anything like this, anything approaching this level. Apparently, she presented the case against Letitia James to a grand jury, and so I think that's highly. I mean, that's we're in a charged environment right now, Steve, where you have the Eastern District of Virginia becoming, for all intents and purposes, the venue of choice for Trump and his posse to go off and try to bring about these political prosecutions. This is not America.
Well, it is now.
It is now.
It is now.
It's not who we are. It's not who we should be.
It is not.
Yeah.
And so, it takes one person on the jury to say, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Right. And this is a political prosecution, and there ought to be a political campaign around Letitia James' political prosecution. I'm involved in, I'm the chair of the advertising committee of the Save America movement, right? I promise you we'll weigh in on this, right?
You got to
go into those, into the areas where this is done, right? And if you're a person who's called to be on a grand jury, and you're presented evidence, and that evidence is against one of the president's foes, you appreciate that it can't be trusted, that it's not on the level. The integrity of the Department of Justice has been wrecked. The integrity of CBS News has been wrecked. The integrity of the FBI has been wrecked. The integrity of the Office of Secretary of Defense has been destroyed. The integrity of the Office of the Homeland Secretary has been destroyed.
Yeah.
These people have no credibility. They have no integrity. Their word cannot be trusted. And their assertions that they're acting to preserve the rule of law while lighting it on fire should be scoffed at, laughed at, and fiercely opposed.
Yeah. And Steve, we should point out that the reason why Donald Trump is so pissed about Letitia James is because there was a New York State lawsuit against him and his business, accusing him of exaggerating his wealth. Earlier this year, this was just in August, an appeals court in New York threw out that case. So he was not on the hook to pay this big fine he was going to have to pay. It was like $500 million. And remember, Judge Engoron presided over the case, and so we all remember watching that trial and so on. And this is part of a pattern. Jim Comey Donald Trump for years held this grudge against Jim Comey, even though you could argue Jim Comey helped Donald Trump become president because he released the Comey letter 11 days before the 2016 election. And Trump he's hanging on to these weird kind of delusional grudges that are banging around in his head. And it just seems as it looks like he's just ordering these stooges like Lindsey Halligan to go into a federal courthouse and bring indictments against these people who are living rent-free in his head. It's disturbing.
Yeah. There's a linear straight line pattern. The same guy, there's no question that he's ordering his stooges to do that. There's no question about it. This is an abuse of power, a corrupt act. It is not on the level. Letitia James, James Comey are being prosecuted by the government of the United States because the government has submitted to the whims of a tyrant who hates these people. And what he's trying to say to everybody is that this could be you. And you best be scared shitless of the president of the United States in the new America. And that's what Donald Trump is trying to say here, right? So there should be no ambiguity about that whatsoever, about what this is. The people that are carrying it out, the people that are doing this need to be called out for doing it.
Yeah.
And we should be perfectly clear about what it is. The same guy who's making the fruitless allegation is the same guy who's pointing a finger at any random speedboat, apparently in the Southern Caribbean, and saying it's a terror target, who's the same guy who's saying that anybody who disagrees with me is a terrorist, who's the same guy who keeps telling the American people he won an election that he lost,
right,
who is fundamentally detached from reality on issue after issue. I can demonstrate that he's incapable of either objectively assessing reality because there's something wrong with him, or he's a pathological sociopathic liar, or he's a combination of the two.
Yeah.
Right? And so everything is connected through the fulcrum of everything that these people say is a lie, and the lies are growing more audacious literally by the hour, banking on the indifference of a lemming society. I'm Steve Schmidt. This is The Warning. I invite you to join this community where I promise to be honest, blunt, and direct about what is happening in this country. America is in crisis. Follow and subscribe to this channel and on Substack. Thank you.